A to the K.
to the K.
To the K. It's been 84 years. That's right, we're back. A to the K.
Than ever.
We are, except we hate Bischoff. We still hate Bischoff. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, he's kind of gone off the deep end, to be fair.
Yeah. You know, not to be all Lady Gaga, but he has really. You know, ain't fucking shallow down there. That's what I'm saying.
I tried belt
Anthony.
out, but my throat's not up to it, man. I can't sing it. It's a banger of a tune, though, to be fair.
It is a banger of a tune. But Anthony, it's been a time. It has literally been a time. When was the last episode of the show? It was probably April, and we're now in June.
I think we were getting the F out in the last episode.
We were getting the F out. Yeah, so that happened. We had a little break. I went on vacation.
A bigger break.
We came back. We broke some software. That was fun because we actually recorded last week, believe it or not, and it just didn't work.
But we're trying to do a clever thing with it. You know, at some point down our career when we're super famous, it's going to be like the lost tapes. We're going to release them. You know what I mean?
It's going to be a whole library. I mean, like 2 tapes, but still, it's a library. More than one makes it a library, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Indeed. But yeah, we're back. Let's get back in the swing of things. As we always do, we'll throw it over to Road Dogg for A to the K's little known fact of the week.
Oh, you didn't know?
There he is. Road Dogg that we've met now and we are best mates with him. So
and he
that's
pointed
good.
at your dick.
He did do that, and I didn't hate it. So make of that what you will. But obviously, as we know, Hell in a Cell has just taken place, and The Undertaker is someone who is pretty much synonymous with the match type. But so is the one and only Mick Foley. But Anthony, did you know? Despite taking part in 4 different Hell in a Cell matches, Mick Foley has actually never been victorious in a single one.
Honestly, I always assumed he would have been, but now you say it, I'm kind of not surprised. Let's face it, he blatantly didn't beat The Undertaker. Because that was a hell of a fall. So when you think about the spills and the like he takes, I'm not surprised he's never been victorious.
Yes, indeed. Well, to summarise, the matches he was in. So his first appearance was actually June 1998 in a tag match on an episode of Raw. And he teamed up with Kane to take on the team of Stone Cold and The Undertaker. And I think he lost that one. The next, it was also in 1998. Well, yes. But it was also his most iconic appearance, as we know. King of the Ring, Hell in a Cell, and we all know how that went down. This third Hell in a Cell match was August, again, 1998. That might also be a record in itself. Who else had 3 Hell in a Cell matches in 1998, by the way? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But this time again on Raw, and it was a match against Kane, which ended in a no contest. And lastly, it was against Triple H, where it was, he was Cactus Jack for this one. This was his kind of title versus career match.
Totally different.
Well, exactly. Yeah, so really, Mick Foley has never actually lost any, because he's never been himself. It's either Mankind or Cactus Jack. But still, mad. Obviously, someone who is so synonymous with the match type, never won one. Madness.
I'm also quite surprised that he had the Undertaker one, took that bump, and then was like, you know what, I want another Hell in a Cell match in the same year. Yeah.
In fact, I'll have 2 more, because that's what he does.
That's insane.
But yeah, so that was the little known fact of the week, and this is Road Dogg to sing us out to that segment.
Oh, you didn't know?
He did it. So yeah, let's head on over. Let's mosey on over, shall we, to WWE, and we're gonna talk about Cody and Seth. Now it's funny because we may have been away for about a month, but this is still what we're talking about. Because that's what they do. Now, please don't come at me for this, folks. But what a convoluted crock of shit this really was, right? So, obviously, we'll get onto this when we talk Hell in a Cell. But Cody, the man that he is, came out and wrestled with a torn pec. And, went through and did all the match, all that good stuff. Yeah, well done, Cody. But He then comes out the next night, and so you first sent me the tweet that Brandy put out, where it was like, I never want my daughter to, if she ever says no, I'm going to show her this match.
I can't. I'm
yeah,
going to have this preload. It's like, calm down.
That's some fucking strict parenting, that, isn't it? But, just to double down on this, Cody then also wants his daughter to know that if she ever goes through the darkest of times, look at this match, because it's all about him, basically. And she will know that he stood and fought. And it's like, yeah, he did do that. Very dangerously.
I know I might be, pointing out the real obvious here, but Cody's definitely got some daddy issues.
I mean...
Right? And he's projecting that shit something shocking right now.
No, it's...
Calm down.
Yeah, I mean... For someone who loves his dad so much, he probably needs to think about his parenting techniques here. It's like, I'm going to sit you down, Liberty, and you will watch my matches, and that will teach you everything you need to know about life. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a massive fan of it. I think, Cody Rhodes, his promos now are just so formulaic, and anyone who has listened to the show for a long time knows I'm a massive fan of Cody promos. For the most part, some stuff he did in AEW, for example, was really, really good. When he came back, the first promo he did on Raw, really, really good. The problem is just that it's so formulaic. He essentially comes out, acknowledges the crowd, everyone yeah, it's Cody. He cries at some point because that's what he does. Uses big words, references his dad or his family. Referenced Dustin this past week, and it's like blah blah blah. We get it, right?
I might be being a bit OTT on this one, so I'm sure many people would disagree. But I actually kind of find it insulting. Because it comes across to me like he's found the formula, he's found the pattern to amuse us. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, you're boring. Well, I find it insulting that he thinks he can come out and he can shed a fake tear and talk about how great everyone is and basically jack himself off for 5 minutes because that's what he does. And we're meant to be like, oh, he's so amazing. It's like, I don't know. It just pisses me off. I
need to watch that South Park episode again, just jacking it. This basically should be his new entrance music, to be fair. Get rid of Downstate. This is where we need to go.
And I have nothing against Cody. I'm not even coming at Cody. I'm not trying to be a Cody hater. He is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he could be fantastic. But the fact that he is still so self-involved that he won't turn heel pisses me off.
Yeah,
be a bad guy.
I know. I think that's what everyone wants, isn't it? At the end of the day, but. Regardless, it's very formulaic. Comes out, does this thing, and then Seth Rollins comes out, and he's like, you know what, I don't like you, but I respect you. Basically, this has also happened before. Again, shakes his hand, and we're like, oh, okay, that's the end of it. No, Cody leaves, Seth comes out with a sledgehammer, hits him in the back of the neck, and then pushes it really hard into his pec. And the thing that annoys me, right, and I'm not saying AEW do this right either, but I feel like recently with Wardlow as an example, they've done it better. But basically, there's about 20 of them. Referees, agents, Curtis Axel's there, other ex-WWE talent. And they're going, no, Seth, don't do it. And meanwhile, he's just going to town, just getting the sledgehammer and putting it in his pec. It's like, surely they would just go, no, and, tackle him. I don't understand.
I know I'm dredging up some old, probably forgotten shit, but what annoys me is, right, you get that's shit like that all the time, like you say, where they're like, yeah, I saw the whole thing, and they didn't do nothing about it. The only time I've seen security officials and referees actually be so keen to stop something is when Adam Pearce decided that Drew McIntyre couldn't be at Raw, and he kept trying to get there to get Randy Orton, and for some reason security were all over that motherfucker. It's the only time I've seen them actually doing the job.
Yeah, I think we really need to have a review of the security policy in WWE. It's like Randy Orton can set a guy on fire. He's cool to show up the next day.
Randy Orton set a guy on fire, and it's no, Drew can't come in. Drew hit somebody, and you don't push. That's not right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just so unbelievable, isn't it? It just logic needs to prevail sometimes. It's I get it. They need to do something to write him off TV or make it worse. But just don't have the guys out there then until the last possible minute.
Yeah, it is fictitious. So, some people will come out well, it's not real. But it's yeah, but, some realism would be nice.
Yeah. It's a really bad, really, really bad soap opera, isn't it? It's it's getting a bit silly at this point. But, so who knows? Is Cody written off TV now? I mean, he's torn his pec. it's a 3 to 6 month surgery, and time on the shelf by all accounts. So we'll see. But yeah.
I think it's ironic when he's like, apparently he's like, oh, if Liberty ever says like, I can't, I'm going to kill. It's like, yeah, when you say to Cody to pick Liberty up and he says, I can't. Yeah, it's probably because he tore his fucking pec.
You can still wrestle a match though. That's safe.
Nah, yeah, of course. But we'll talk about that when we talk Hell in a Cell. But I do have some issue with that. I do, and it was a good match, but I do have some issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of things I have issue with, Carl, every fucking thing, because I'm a bitter man. But the next one, Judgment Day, not the pay-per-view, the new faction, right? The faction that's been around all of a week. Nice little bit of turmoil this week, yeah? We had this announcement that they've got a new member, yeah? And it's like, oh, it's Finn bollocks, because he's obviously joined their team now because, he lost to them the other day, I guess. Yeah, okay, sure. And then what do we get? Well, let's attack Edge as well and kick Edge out. I really don't know what they're going for. And I've heard rumors, like, a lot of people were saying, yeah, they're kicking Edge out because we need someone to replace Cody, so Edge is going to play the Cody role and turn face again. But then people are saying, no, this was always the plan, it wasn't. I hope this wasn't always the plan. You've had a faction that's existed for all of a month, totally based around Edge. And then they kick him out. Like, well, I understand the whole betrayal thing. We've seen it before. But what? What's the plan here? What's this?
I have no idea. I saw somewhere on the dirt sheets that they were like, they wanted to make the faction have like supernatural powers or something, and they're just like, nah, I don't want none of that. And so they were like, well, we'll just bin you off then, and we'll put it. So they literally turned on him. It was unscripted, man. No, but yeah, like to your point, is like, cool. Now we got fucking finger McFucking point. It's like, yay. That's
like, I just, from a logic standpoint, right? Again, I know it's not real, right? But from a logic standpoint, you're a faction who's been on basically a bit of a run, bit of a win streak, and you have one of the best wrestlers in the world at the helm. And you go, you know what? We're going to turn on you, and we're going to get the guy who spent the last 2 years losing to fucking everybody. And who lost to us a couple of nights before. We're going to get that guy. That's the guy who's going to be with us now. And we're going to get rid of you, Edge.
What a wise move.
The fuck? I know. The fuck are they thinking? I don't understand. No offense to Finn, but currently, character-wise, I don't know why they would want him.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And also, and again, Balor has got his massive amount of supporters. Everyone loves him, blah, blah, blah. I've not been a fan since, NXT Demon era Balor. But why would Damian Priest follow Balor? You get it with Edge.
Yeah.
But, like,
because that kind of happened naturally, isn't it? He looks up to Edge. Edge is an absolute legend, and he is the new guy. And you understand how Damian ended up following him in the first fucking place. Now, there's just 0 sense made. Why did you turn on him?
It's almost like, Balor's now the new head of this faction. And I don't know, like, if it was going to be Damian, fair dues, but...
Unless there's no leaders in this faction.
Just Judgement.
Yeah. Especially, so people proper love the whole Bullet Club connection as well, and he's just like, yeah, we lost, so fuck AJ and
That's it now. Forgotten about it.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, bullshit. Didn't like it.
Indeed. I couldn't care. Things I can't care about, though. So, the downward spiral of Becky Lynch continues because, she has come back, hot stuff, managed to beat the likes of, she beat Bianca Belair, won the belt. She's back, all that good stuff. And she's lost just a handful of times. I think, obviously, she lost to Bianca Belair. I think maybe Sasha beat her once. And I think she lost to Asuka. Now, the latest, obviously, in that line of superstars who were worthy of beating Becky Lynch is obviously Dana Brooke. Because of course.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I've never got it. 24/7 is also, the title somehow involved in this for some reason. Because obviously the match they have is for the 24/7 title that Dana just won back. And obviously Asuka comes down.
It still annoys me that you schedule a match for the 24/7 title.
How
would you ever get out of that ring?
The clue's in the fucking name, right? It's on the line 24/7. But yeah, I don't get it. And obviously Dana goes on to beat Becky with Asuka's kind of interference, essentially. And yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do with Becky now, doing some kind of like downward spiral of losses or what, but yeah.
Probably shows you can do a comeback tour.
Props.
Yeah. I'm going to earn my way back. I'm going to earn everyone's respect again and turn face during it. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to do a promo where I just breathe after every word, because that's how she does a promo. So there is that.
Nice. Okay. I don't know how to talk about this next one, Carl. Right? Because I'm still not sure what the fuck they're doing or what's going on, right?
I don't think they're sure.
That is Riddle. Because he only has the one name. That's Riddle.
Riddle
right?
you this, in fact. The clue's in the name, Anthony.
The fuck's going on, right? So, we no Orton anymore, right? He's having some time off or whatever he's doing at a strange moment. Like, kind of just left Riddle in the lurch there. I'm not quite sure. If it is time off, that it's kind of a strange time to take it, if you ask me. But anyway, we stick Riddle with Shinsuke. Yeah, okay. And now we've got Riddle sort of teasing that he wants to face Roman. And cutting some sort of fucking mad promo with the Miz, like about the size of his balls of all things.
I mean, to be fair, that was probably the most entertaining part about it. Like, I don't want to like shit.
Be entertaining.
I don't want to shit on Riddle, but like Riddle is so just like he's so boring now. He was just the same thing all the time. He's like, yeah, I do weed and I'm like a cool guy. That's literally his gimmick. Whereas I think whenever Maurice comes back. Exactly. And like whenever Maurice comes back and works with the Miz, it's always gold. So obviously the stuff they did with the whole balls thing, I like that. But in terms of where this is going,
no, I totally agree. It's more the direction. Like you can still have fun segments and stuff, but what's going on? Like we had him sort of come down and raise the hand to the Street Profits after their match with the Usos, but he's already said he's done with the Usos. So
yeah,
what is the plan? Like, are they gonna have him face Roman? That seems kind of weird. No offense to him, but I just don't think it's the time, I mean, unless you're just going to feed him to Roman for no reason.
The thing with Roman is it's weird enough as it was because they originally were teasing Roman versus Shinsuke. So I think we were like, that's the match that's going to happen at WrestleMania Backlash. Never happened. And now it's almost like, well, I don't know, maybe we'll put Riddle there then in that place.
And that'll never happen. And
exactly. So it's like, well, what is the point?
Where is Roman?
Who knows? But yeah, to your point, he's like, I'm done with the Usos. I want to go after Roman now. And then literally 2 minutes later, comes down and is like involved with the Usos again. It's like,
thought you were done.
Yeah.
Although like you say, he goes for the stoner gimmick, so maybe he forgot.
I mean, it's possible. It is possible. So the next thing to talk about, and I'm not a fan. I love Drew McIntyre. Everyone knows this. Big, sexy Scottish bastard that he is, right? Love the guy. What has he become? What is this, right?
What have I become?
What's the meme? It's like, look how they massacred my boy. Basically, is what it is. This is the guy who was the most over main event guy of like 2020. Won the Royal Rumble, knocked out Brock Lesnar, beat him at Mania, fucking superstar. Now he's here, fucking making dick jokes, fucking with a little weird, like, fucking, what's the word? Illuminating fucking kilt that's been given to him by the New Day. Yeah, I don't really know. It's like, I get Big E's gone. I get Big E's gone, but it's like, why use Drew to fill that gap? It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense.
I think. Have you seen that tweet from Xavier? Not directly connected to Drew, but almost suggesting that even he's getting sick of the repetitive, same old stuff that they're making them do.
No.
You see that? You hear about this? You heard about this?
You hear this? See this? Yeah. No.
Let me see if I can find it. Just vamp for a sec. I'll think to the people.
Okay.
What's in the news today?
I've got nothing.
But yeah, I mean, for me, I do think it's a real shame. I was hoping he'd move on to something better, like
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, they planted the seed to a degree. So obviously they're coming over to Wales for Clash at the Castle. And Drew McIntyre was like, I'm going to shoot me shot. I want to challenge Roman in Wales. So he is still there or thereabouts around the title scene. But I just think that this stuff that he's doing, like the stuff he's been doing for months, has just been detracting from him having this kind of main event push. And I know people started to turn on him a little bit when he was having the Bobby Lashley feud, but this isn't the way to get him back.
I think we're ready. I think we're ready for Big D to come back.
Well, yeah, Big D is here.
Right.
So
I don't like the name.
No. But yeah, so it's one of them. Obviously bittersweet because big fan of Drew, just not a fan of anything he's involved in at the moment. It's a massive shame.
I can't find a tweet, and I'd spend most of the show looking for it. But he essentially hinted at the fact that they had the sort of same combination of opponents for the last so many 100 days, and it's yeah, he's got a point. He's got a point.
He's not wrong. He
is not wrong. But that's wrestling for you. Again, without the main event scene, SmackDown would be shit. As with NXT. Well, even with the main event scene, NXT would be shit. No offense, they've totally ruined NXT. And I haven't specifically mentioned NXT this week, but they fucking ruined NXT. It's just awful now.
It's almost become like a forgotten, it's like an afterthought now, isn't it?
Yeah. Before I get on to the point I actually wrote down, I messaged you the other day because they're basically trying to rip off Bray Wyatt now for no reason at all. Joe Gacy's just trying to be discount Bray Wyatt. It's yay, it's Bray Wyatt from Wish. Why? What's the point? You already had his stupid safe space shit going on.
Yeah, I mean that in itself is kind of intriguing because Bray potentially teasing some kind of return, isn't he? So is it to WWE? If so, how's that going to be? Well, it was not. So yeah, weird one.
Indeed. Anyway, Carl, the next one I'm going to bring up is the women's titles. Yeah, and the fatal four-way. Are they fatal anymore? Do you call them fatals?
Maybe they're femme fatale.
But obviously on SmackDown we had a four-way with Natalya winning, so we'll get Ronda versus Natalya. Then Raw we had a four-way. Again, it's a fatal four-way, right? It's still a fatal four-way. I feel like I'm wrong for saying fatal four-way, but it's a fatal four-way, right? But Rhea Ripley won, so we're going to get Bianca and Rhea. So firstly, I'm just intrigued because the Ronda Natalya thing, I'll be honest, I'm a bit dubious. I don't think that's going to work. But Bianca and Rhea could be a decent match. I feel like we've had it before, but again, there's no reason these two can't put on a banger of a match.
Yeah, it feels interesting. So obviously Natalya, and God love her, she's one of the veterans of the women's division now, but she's a terrible heel.
Yep,
she really isn't that good at it. But Ronda's not a very good face either. So basically, we've just got a mismatch of people where it's not going to work, unfortunately. So I think, well, I said last week that you didn't get to hear. It's on the lost tapes. That hopefully, this will end up leading to potentially Shayna Baszler versus Ronda. Because she's Natalya's tag team partner now, because of course she is. So
Natalya
who knows?
Everybody.
Of course she does. So yeah, we will see. But not big on that. But yeah, Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. It has been done before. I think obviously they had the beat the clock challenge and stuff, didn't they? And they've had this friendly rivalry, but it's never been done with Rhea Ripley as a heel and Bianca as the face. So
yeah,
something fresh in that sense.
The question I'd asked though, do you think this is going to be a loss for Bianca? Do you think we might get Rhea with the title again for a little bit? Or do you think they're not done with Bianca's run yet?
I honestly don't know what they're doing with it. It all made sense up to WrestleMania and building it back up after the Becky loss and stuff. But then it's almost like they've had no fucking idea what to do with her ever since, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
This could be a hell of a rivalry for her. For me, it just kind of makes sense to have the heel initially, even if they go to a rematch. And trust me, WWE will go to a rematch. It makes sense for Rhea to win with the faction around her. You know what I mean?
Well, Anthony, if I'm going to do my bold booking predictions, if I was to put my WWE
Carl's
writers hat on right now, I guarantee they're going to do Judgment Day versus Street Profits and Bianca. Because she's married to Tez, so therefore it's a 3-on-3, it makes sense. So we're getting that.
I'd be rooting for Judgment Day.
Well, of course you would, and it's like the face.
Because Tez does me in. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, he's amazing. No, he's just too, basically I'm an old man, I've got no energy, so when he comes out all exuberant, I'm like, I'm already tired. Stop it.
He comes out doing his best Damon Wayans impression, doesn't he, at the end of the day? And he just comes out and he's just really loud and he's, says a lot of stuff. But you're just kind of like, okay.
It's honestly, I think he triggers the father in me because I'm there like, stop shaking the rope, you know. Anyway.
So I think we're going to get some kind of combination of that. But yeah, at least we got some semblance of movement. Now, we didn't really speak about it much, but I also think that tag title wise for the women, obviously Sasha and Naomi, you know what's happening there. But there was a bit of a tease.
Seen him in a while. What's happening?
Oh no, yeah, you know, there's a small thing. But there was a tease
away
this
for a
week
while.
of Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss potentially teaming up. Now,
So
anybody
like
again who is a fan of this show knows that would be my dream match of the women's division of them two against each other. So I think this is how we could get there.
You just reminded me, like I just visions of you being like Joey and Friends. It's like women or a big tub of jam. Put your hands together.
Basically, yes. I will special ref that match. But yeah, so that was just something else I wanted to call out. And lastly, for WWE, now we mentioned it last week, but you never got to hear. I've said that a few times, but it's true. I have to reference Dancing Shanky.
You mentioned it this week because we fucking have to.
Because you didn't hear it last week. So yeah, basically we've got Dancing Shanky now because of course we do. And yeah, I just basically wanted to bring it up because last week I was just like, I went on this big rant around gimmicks and why, of course, they're going to give somebody with absolutely nothing to do a dancing gimmick because it's the most WWE thing ever. Like, of course it's a gimmick because of course it is. And so, yeah, I just wanted to highlight it because this is WWE.
I think that's like, if you think about it, it's kind of evil billionaire level to be like, dance, do as I tell you and dance. Like, that's kind of evil rich man guy.
I mean, this is the same guy who was like, okay, attractive woman, kiss me for a segment that I've just written.
Or bark like a dog.
Yeah, like literally. So just Vince doing Vince things.
Really speaking, like, honestly, the more I think about it, the more we delve back into the past. Dancing Shanky's not too bad. Like, there's been a lot worse. A lot worse.
I mean, there has, but obviously this isn't very good either. So, there was worse for different reasons. This is just terrible. I
just feel like that might be the approach I need to take with WWE for a while. Like, it could be worse.
That's our new shirt. That's it.
Like, wrestling. It could be worse.
So let's mosey on over to AEW then, shall we? And let's talk about the hot topic.
The other side, Carl.
The hot topic. Well, I mean, there's many hot topics in AEW at the minute, but you're gonna chat about the next one in a minute. But MJF, his promo, in a matter of words, holy shit! Now, hell of a promo from MJF. I mean, we are accustomed to it. This is what he does. But I don't know. There's so much intrigue around this. Obviously, we had all the stuff ahead of Double or Nothing. He no-showed the media event. He showed up for the match and then apparently just left straight after it. So much stuff going on about contracts and him and Tony Khan and all this good stuff. Now, people don't really seem to know what to believe. Now, that's when wrestling is at its finest because, it's still real to me, damn it. And that's what you need to believe, right? Is you're going to be sitting there watching a TV show. Anything which blurs the lines of reality and show is obviously, an entertaining art form at the end of the day. But essentially, it's got to be a work, right? Like, would Tony give MJF a live mic and say, go out there? And I get they're trying to recreate this Summer of Punk thing and, the pipe bomb and all this good stuff, essentially is what they're trying to do, which just lends credence to the fact I think it's a work. Like, said to MJF, go out there, shit on Tony, shit on AEW, shit on your contract, and then as soon as you say, XYZ things, we'll cut your mic off. Now, we'll get onto this when we talk about the news. Now, MJF dropped an F-bomb. And in some markets, it wasn't beeped out. Now, since then, Warner have basically had a bit of a hissy fit off the back of it. And it is at a time when they're just negotiating new TV deals. And so it's a fucking ballsy roll of the dice if it is all a work. But essentially...
Well, you see, is it ballsy, or has Khan had the sense to go to Warner Brothers and say, look, we're doing this. We're gonna drop an F-bomb. Like, can we have your approval? But can you make it look like disapproval? Because I think the whole, and one of the things we mentioned when we get to the news, the whole thing about them issuing like this. I can't remember the fucking word of it now, but the comments they issued about MJF.
The edict.
Edict, thank you. I think that is part of the work as well.
I mean, it could be.
We're all playing the game, and
well, that's
what? What I will say for it is, it obviously echoed the Summer of Punk, especially with the mic cutting out and stuff like that. But I was pleased that it wasn't overly so, because I was expecting this to be a work. I was expecting them to try and do it like the Summer of Punk, where people still to this day debate whether that was real or not. But it wasn't like so carbon copy that it annoyed me, which I was pleased with. It was a really good promo in the sense of like it still had that MJF flavour to it. It wasn't like, let's copy what Punk did.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, in an era where everybody thinks that they fucking know what's happening in the world of wrestling, I love the fact that people are getting worked now. So like, Chelsea Green was like, "Oh, I've done me arm in again," and everyone was like, "Of course she has." I think even we were like, "Of course she has," and then she's like, "Haha, I'm just kidding, you fucking
sorry,
nerds."
Chelsea, I definitely.
And it was like, holy shit. So to pull one over in this day and age on people, because as soon as anyone gets anything from social media, that's it. It's the fact or the truth. So I would actually fucking love it if this was all one big work, but at the end of the day, people are now starting to lean into the fact that it is. And you've had the stuff with Cody where everyone was like, "Nah, he's never going to go there, don't be stupid," and he went there. So
no, he went there.
He went there. So it's a weird one. Like, for me, I do not understand why MJF would want to go to WWE, other than just money. But
I think MJF he knows how to play the social media game. And even if people are starting to go, yeah, it's a work, I still credit to them. And I sincerely hope it goes as I think it will. And, he's at some point going to insert himself into this tournament and win the belt.
Yeah. To be fair, it would make the most sense, obviously, from like a long-term storytelling standpoint. Him and CM Punk have had all, the issues and stuff. And obviously him doing a very CM Punk type thing. If MJF had the Summer of Punk, then it'd be amazing, wouldn't it? But obviously we'll know tonight, because Dynamite is tonight, and whoever wins the Battle Royal will face Moxley, and then whoever wins that will face the winner of the New Japan thing, and then a Forbidden Door. So an interim champion will be crowned. If it's MJF, then pretty cool.
Well, I'm sincerely hopeful. I think that would be the right way to sort of crown this, really.
Crown him.
But why are we having a tournament, Carl? Well, I'll tell you why, because the next problem is CM Punk's big announcement, which was the fact that basically he's injured, and the timing on this couldn't be worse. And it seems like the rest of the world is absolutely plagued by injuries at the moment, with the likes of Matt Cardona, Adam Cole, Cody Rhodes, Daniel Bryan Danielson. Yeah, that guy. And now CM Punk, it just seems like we're getting injury after injury. But obviously the timing is particularly bad. He's just won, literally just won. And what annoys me more is it gives credence to these trolls online as well. We're like, see, he's past it. He should never have won it anyway, etc. It's like, Jesus Christ, he's just been unlucky, like many people have been.
It's like saying Cody's past it because he's got it. You know what I mean? It's just like people get injured at the end of the day. But
he's achieved legend status because he wrestled well hurt.
But Anthony, if the people listening and watching this follow us on our socials, we think we may have identified when he actually got injured. People seem to attribute it to when he did the buckshot,
which could have been like a contributing factor.
Could have been, but you can clearly see a very worried and like what the fuck moment with Punk on Dynamite on his match, when he jumps into the crowd, his first time as champion, gets out of the crowd, and he's like, feeling his toe, saying, something's happened here. And then FTR walked down to the ring behind him, and he suddenly can't walk, and he looks at his foot, and he's like, his whole demeanour changes as if to say, shit, something's not right here. Now, that is clearly when he did it. Like, it has to be, like, he could have, made it 10 times worse having the match with FTR and stuff like that, but that's when he did it.
No, I agree. I think the buckshot might have hurt him a little bit, but I think he's definitely caused the damage, or finished it off, if you will, with that jump. I think you did your detective work, Carl. You got the magnifying glass out, and I think you're right.
Thanks. Thanks. That's all I wanted to hear.
Well, you got it.
So yeah, so Punk's injured, and we don't know what's gonna happen there. So interim title, Forbidden Door. We will find out who the new interim champion is. So yeah, interesting times, unfortunate times.
It was the best of times. It was the best.
Indeed, it was. But speaking of good times, Miro is back, Anthony, and fuck yeah, the Redeemer is finally here again. And I think poor Johnny Elite, now obviously the former John Morrison, comes over to AEW, like many have done, and he's basically just lost ever since. So
goodbye, Johnny.
Yeah, interesting decision there. But look, Miro was on another level before he got injured. I think this Redeemer gimmick and stuff like that, he's probably the best version of himself he's been.
This was a good way to come back.
So obviously,
really
yeah, it was very well over. Fans were made up with it, and he absolutely obliterated Johnny Elite. So yeah, great news. I think Miro could very much be on a collision course with the interim champ, or if he doesn't win the Battle Royal himself anyway. So yeah,
indeed. No, I'm loving it. It's glad to see him back. I think people forget, like, people talking AEW, like, oh, it's rubbish, etc. Like, we've had some really important pieces missing, and whenever you think of Miro, he was on a good run. It's similar, like Kenny Omega, like as much whether you love him or hate him, he's definitely a missing presence in AEW. There's people who need to return who are really going to help the show pick itself back up. And
True
love
that.
it. Love it.
True that.
You know what else I'm loving, Carl?
Go on.
William freaking Regal. And don't be wrong, this week we couldn't say the thing. We couldn't say War Games, right? But naturally, he was the man that you had to get to say Blood and Guts, right? Which isn't quite the same, but it's as close as we're gonna get. It's as good as we're gonna get. I miss War Games, right? I'm not gonna try and do it, but Regal announces Blood and Guts, and I'm like, yes, nice, he did it. He did the thing. And it just seems apt for the man who, obviously, in all the previous WWE years announced War Games. I thought it was a nice touch. But similarly, what do you make of the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Jericho Appreciation Society? Like, are you loving this feud? I know it's sort of, for some people, it's kind of gone a little bit stagnant. The Jericho side of things, like I'm still, I don't know, I'm still quite happy, to be honest. I think it's.
I mean, again, people didn't get to hear about it last week because, problems. But I think it was absolutely the wrong decision to have Blackpool Combat Club lose to the JAS at Double or Nothing. It didn't make any sense. The sports entertainers went over practically clean. Like, it wasn't clean because they, choked out, but there was no real shenanigans.
Where were the shenanigans?
Yeah, so it was just kind of
sense for the whole gimmick. It makes sense that they would have had the shenanigans, to be fair.
Yeah, obviously they're all there. Jericho's coming out, I'm a wizard, and it's all sports entertainment and all this stuff, and yeah, just basically beat them. So that wasn't very good. But yeah, I don't know. It's very much Jericho's factions, obviously in a circle and stuff. It's been a bit repetitive now. Obviously, we had Pinnacle, we've had a few other different bits and bobs that he's been involved in. So yeah, I'm not massively invested in it, but I'd like to see. I don't know, I'd like to see some kind of progress with BCC and get them going on to do some bigger and better things.
Agreed. I mean, BCC are the bit for me. I like the combination, I like the idea, and I hope it carries on doing what it's doing,
Indeed. And the last one to talk about for AEW this week. So, Athena has made her in-ring debut for AEW. Obviously, made her appearance at Double or Nothing. And she got a match on Rampage and put on a really good showing against Kiera Hogan. Now, I wanted to raise this point because I'm keen to get your thoughts. Now, anybody who watches this, listens to this, knows Anthony, and me to some degree, but definitely Anthony, is a massive Thunder Rosa mark, right? You fucking love it.
A simp, if you will.
A simp, right? Thunder simper, if you will. But I honestly believe AEW has been putting more effort, focus, and just general attention into the TBS title scene than they have the women's title scene. Like, Jade Cargill is a bona fide star. Like, there's something about her, she's just got it. Whatever the it factor is, she's got it, right? And the last couple of weeks, Anna Jay I thought was a bit of a cop-out. Not going to lie. But they had the match and it was good. I said it was the best match.
You don't like Anna Jay for some reason, you.
That's not true. I said Anna Jay and Jade had the best match of both of their careers when they faced each other, so it made sense to put them back together again from a match standpoint. But it was never believable that she'd win the title.
Back together again.
Essentially. Whereas now you've got this real credible threat in Athena, and you've got Athena teaming up with Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho and the like, and you've got Jay Cargill with a baddie section and stuff, so there's just a lot of emphasis there, whereas meanwhile, and I know Thunder apparently was a bit under the weather, but I just feel like there's not been that much focus on the main women's title division.
Well, to the point, Carl, that it's actually being rumoured that she's unhappy with the exposure of the women's title scene. I don't know how true that is. Dirt sheet stuff, isn't it? So we haven't had it from the horse's mouth or anything, but I don't know, for me, I do think I'm a bit torn on it, because I think it's fair to say that the TBS title has had more effort to put in by AEW, but at the same time, they're trying to establish a new title and greener wrestlers. So, they've got the confidence to not have to put that light on people like Thunder and Deeb, because they're going to put on a banger of a match and people are going to love them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas they're trying to get Jade over and they're trying to get the TBS title established and a thing. So I kind of get how it's happened, but then you go, well, is it time to concentrate on the women's title again for a bit?
Yeah, and I think, and I don't want to come across as a detractor of either of these women, because Thunder and Serena are both fantastic, and I've got so much time for both of them. But I think both of the promos they did under-delivered ahead of their Double or Nothing match. So you can kind of, I don't know, they're not helping themselves, I guess, so they probably need to step their game up as well. But I think they need some more attention on them at the same time. But
yeah. No, I agree.
So yeah, that was This Week in Wrestling, Anthony. WWE, AEW, lots going on. A lot of good stuff, a lot of unfortunate things with the injury and whatnot. But we're back. Hopefully this saves. Hopefully it works. Hopefully we can put it out.
This could be another one of the lost tapes.
Yeah. The funny thing is that you will never see the lost tapes, because they just didn't record. They'll literally be like 5-minute snippets.
I feel like I've talked about it that much, but I might have to just record something as like a black lost tapes.
Yes, because our black content goes down very well.
Yes, people love it, notoriously.
But yeah, so we did another week. We've got a lot of other content coming. We're going to talk about Hell in a Cell. We're going to talk about For the Love of Wrestling. And also we've got all the latest news and rumours. So make sure you stick back with us. And here is the wonderful Thunder Rosa we just spoke about to... with some words to end this.
Hey, Thunder.
Hey.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa, and you're watching or listening A to the K. A to the K. A to the K. A to the K.